you won't be perfect. You can't possibly be kidding.
Okay, anyway, I start saying something.
Okay.
While Francois is getting ready for the streaming. Ready? Are you ready? Okay, so thank you very much. And I would like to thank particularly our doctors. So Marco Brusa is one of our members and Dr. Vittorio Saginario, that was very, very nice and very kind to come to us because Marco cannot speak very good English, so he preferred another doctor to help him, okay? So I'm absolutely very happy, and I think that we can start. The subject is extremely interesting, aeromedical, so it's related to aeronautical medicine, related to gliding. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Quindi posso parlare così? Senza? We can speak. Okay. No, no, tanto io guardo. Se vuoi spegnere per loro, sì. Per loro, sì. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, nice to meet you. Hello. I'm Vittorio. I'm from Milan. I'm a medical doctor, a specialist in ear, nose, and throat. Okay, is in a specialist very important for the problem of pilots. Okay, because air is very involved in during the flight, and you know it. Okay, so we speak about aeromedical. Aeromedical is a discipline that study all the problematic involved in gliding and flight in general. Okay, so it's a specialist. Okay. Branch of medicine that studies physiologic and physiopathologic events related to flight activities. So the problem is to analyze the problems that occur during the flight. The target is flying in wellness because we have to have fun during the flight, and safe, avoid flying accidents. The most important problem during the gliding sure is hypoxia. We'll speak about hypoxia, dehydration, barotrauma, motion sickness, spatial disorientation, acceleration and G-lock, operational fatigue and stress are more involved during the flight in general. I think that is more important in gliding, hypoxia, dehydration and barotrauma. So we'll speak about these three chapters of aeromedical especially. So we know that there is a lot of variation in the pressure in the atmosphere during the flight. What is the body influences? We know the Earth's atmosphere is characterized by values and variables in temperature, humidity, pressure and partial pressure of oxygen, carbon dioxide and other gases. So we know the air has a concentration of oxygen and carbon dioxide that is not the same at the Earth quote and in air quote. So this is very important because when the parameters value may afford to organic failure and flight pathologies. It's very important to have good information about what are the clinical problems that may occur during the flight. What is our experience? The experience is that gliders at the beginning tend to underestimate the hypoxia problem and overestimate the dehydration. Especially Marco told about me because I'm not a pilot, I'm not a glider, and so he tells me that he sees every time a lot of pilots with a bottle of water in the plane, always drink, and they are very afraid about dehydration. I don't think about hypoxia in the same. It's the same. So, aeromedical say that dehydration leads to suffering. So, we are very afraid about dehydration, and we don't care about hypoxia because we have an extraordinary sense of wellness. Okay? Cheers. But it's not like that, because it's very dangerous, because you don't have, you don't realize that are going to experience a very severe shortage of performance when you are in hypoxia. So periods in hypoxia have a sense of wellness and thrill, like an alcohol euphoria. But it's not like that because they don't realize they are going to experience a severe shortages of performance. This is very important. Why? Because we know that in the body, in our bodies have different functions thanks to oxygen that is in the air. So it's very important to know how the functional between oxygen and CO2 exchange in the lung and the peripheral tissue. Okay. The blood oxygen is fixed on a protein, hemoglobin, and binds indifferently in a link that is very unstable in the bond with oxygen and carbon dioxide. Lungs are rich of oxygen, okay, because they are the organ where the oxygen is very concentrated and it carries out in the blood to the peripheral tissues. Then it partial shift from hemoglobin, the carbon dioxide that is dissolved in the air. Okay. In the peripheral tissues, we have a great concentration of carbonic dioxide. Then its partial pressure displaces the oxygen that is transferred to fabrics. Carbon dioxide attaches to hemoglobin and returns to the lungs. So, when you have the blood that comes from the lung is very rich of oxygen, when it comes to the peripheral tissue, there's a lot of carbon dioxide, okay? And in this site, in the peripheral tissues, there is an exchange, okay? So the most important thing to know that is important, where is the oxygen very concentrated and where is the carbon dioxide very concentrated. We know that there is a weight for the air weight. The column of air above us has a weight, then exert a pressure on us. This is very important, which will be very different at different altitude. The oxygen partial pressure at the level of our lungs will vary when the flight at different quota, and thus will vary the hemoglobin ability to fix oxygen. This is simple and clear, I think so. This is important for the hemoglobin saturation. Now this, this graphic is not very correct, but the most important thing to do that we have a percentage of hemoglobin saturation that changes at various level of altitude, okay? So when you go at higher altitudes, you have a drop in saturation of hemoglobin in oxygen, and this can provocate hypoxia, okay? It's more evident after 3,000 meters. We have a curve of saturation. This is, I want to transfer it. Okay. Okay. This is a graphic that explains in a simple way how the oxygen saturation changes at altitude. So we can see in red the saturation of oxygen. Okay, this is the partial pressure in black of oxygen. So the rate is full when we have at zero, at ground zero. Okay, when we go higher, tends to go down the saturation. At 60, the body starts to suffer okay, via chances, okay. This is very important because it's dangerous. So from 4,000 to 8, we have a great drop of saturation. Okay. Oop. So we talk about dehydration. So we know that when you fly, you are exposed at the sun for hours in our cockpits, sweat, perspiration in air, which is often more dry at altitude than normal. Breathing loses a considerable amount of water, which within certain limits is good to integrate, so we have to drink. But caution, many people, for fear of being thirsty, drink more than is necessary. Hydration, so pilots for Marco always drink more than necessary. And this is dangerous because it leads to forced diuresis. You need to drink reasonably when you are thirsty, because when you introduce liquid, just a little bit of liquid consists in a production of proportional volumes of urine, okay? Because the kidney is very sensitive. And so when you drink, you have to eliminate, to wash out the liquid. Finally, because gliders don't swim like marathonists, you don't have the necessity to bring out with you drinking liquid electronic supplements. I don't know if in Italy it's called Gatorade, something like that. You don't need it. Only water is necessary, and in the right apport, okay? Now, let's talk about barotrauma. That is our favorite chapter, because we are ear, nose and throat specialists, so we do many visits to pilots, because it's very important to have a right functionally of the mechanism with the tuba, Eustachian tuba, in the middle ear. Now I try to explain you which are the mechanisms involved during the flight. Now we know the deposit of air of gases are contained in the cavities of our organs. They are normally in equilibrium with the stagnant pressure that exists in the air. With the changes of the share, the gas dilate or contract. Okay? The effect on the organ walls can cause discomfort and even violent pains. Which are the more commonly involved? The medium ear, the paranasal sinus, the stomach, and the intestines. Middle ear barotrauma. The middle ear, we know that is a cavity, is like a box. Okay, there is a soft lateral external wall that is like skin. It's very soft. There are elastic fibra, and this is the most important for us for hearing, because it's the first wall when we hear a sound that the sound can impact. Okay. The other walls are bony. During the climb up, the outside air pressure decreases, and the excess pressure created in the tympanic cavity is discharged easily into the nasal passages. During the descent, increasing pressure atmospheric must be compensated by stiff movements of contraction of the muscle of the tuba. These movements must be frequent to compensate for small differences in pressure. Otherwise, large pressure difference can be not compensate for realizing the block of tuba or middle ear with fullness, onset, hearing loss, autophony, tinnitus, pain, and sometimes vertigo. So a tuba block and middle ear can be achieved under normal condition. For example, when a passenger is with you on the plane and is asleep, okay? He cannot compensate. So we have, that's a problem, no? Also, or in pathological condition, such an inflammation of the tuba, okay? Okay, so if you have a passenger, don't sleep. You have to compensate, okay? Oh, this is the condition. This is a graphic design that explains simply what it happens when you on the plane. So external medium here during climb up with open Eustachian tube with the normal condition because the Eustachian tube is open. So you can see that there is a plus in the middle hair. This is the middle hair, okay? This is the membrana tympanica, external here with the conduct, the ear conduct, external ear conduct. This is the middle hair, the box, talk about it. This is the inner ear, where is the nerves that okay, take the sound to the brain, and this is the Eustachian tube. So when you are during the climb up, you have a negative pressure, you are decreasing pressure, and you have a positive pressure in the inner hair. So to equilibrate at the same pressure and don't have a disturb or tinnitus, hearing loss, you have to put the air in the nose, okay? But if the Eustachian tube is open, it's not a problem for you. Instead, if you are during the climb down with the open Eustachian tube, with the normal condition, you have a high pressure external to the air, okay, and a lower pressure in the middle hair. So you have to increase the pressure in the middle hair, and this is important to do with contraction of the muscle, because the Eustachian tube is a tube made of muscle, okay? So if you have contraction of the muscle, you can put the hair in the middle hair and increase the pressure in the middle hair. So what is barotraumatic otitis? We see a lot of, as a specialist, a lot of barotraumatic otitis, but not in the pilot, but in the passenger, okay, in the normal flight. Because if you have a problem with your nose, with the tuba, the mechanism to keep a right pressure in the middle hair is not good, and so you have an otitis, an inflammation, okay? What is the treatment? Stop the descent, and if it's possible, go up. Make maneuver compensation. Use vasoconstrictor drugs like nasal spray. It's very important before the flight. Okay. Slow descent speed. Okay, because if you go slowly, the change of altitude and the pressure is more soft. Okay. Urgent medical supervisor by Dr. Brusa. Okay, you have to call Dr. Brusa. Oh, Dr. Brusa, I have a problem with my hair. Okay. So we reiterate the concept that the most important aspect is prevention. Avoid flights that include important changes in altitude when you have a cold. Okay. Barotrauma is important not only for the air, but an analogous phenomena happens in the paranasal sinus. You know what is paranasal sinus? Paranasal sinus are the cavity that is lateral, upper, and near the nose. Okay, this is the nose, this is the nasal septum that divide the nose in two parts, the left one and the right one. And you have the paranasal sinus. This is maxillary. This region is ethmoid, and this is the frontal paranasal sinus. Okay. If you have a cold and a secretion in the nose, you have secretion in the paranasal nose, and when you have a great pressure because you are flighting, you can have a violent headache, okay? Because the pressure increase, and so the nerves are stimulated to have pain. The barotrauma is very important in the stomach, in the intestine, because during the climb, because of the pressure during the climb, you have a distension of the wall of this organ, and you can have pain. So you have to pay attention to the diet. Okay, I suggest you before flying, you have to avoid any foods that can provocate gas in stomach and intestine. No Coke, okay? No beans. Thank you.
Have you got any question? Yes.
What about hay fever? Because sometimes hay fever just causes swelling
Yeah.
in the sinuses. Is that the allergy?
Oh yes, this is important. You have to do a prevention with the nasal spray, antihistaminic. I think that when it comes spring, you have to take care about the nose. It's very important. Yes, nasal spray, antihistaminic, and nasal wash is very important. Nasal wash. Yes, you have to do nasal wash twice a day. Okay. Capito?
I'm curious about the amount you would suggest us to drink during the flight, because I know people that go up with half a bottle of Coke and they come back after 10 hours and it's not empty.
Okay.
I know other people that have 4 liters of water in the back and it's all
Okay.
empty after a 5-hour flight.
Okay.
So what is the problem if I drink too much? Urine is not my
I turned the question to Marco because he's a pilot and a medician, so proprio curioso di sapere quant'è la quantità giusta, perché lei vede delle persone che vanno in aereo con una bottiglietta di Coca-Cola e tornano che praticamente vuote, non hanno neanche bevuta, e altre persone che vanno con litri di acqua.
Allora, per quello che è la mia esperienza, in italiano, poi tu traduci.
Okay.
Per quello che è la mia esperienza, per un volo di 4-5 ore, un litro d'acqua è più che sufficiente. Le
For a
quantità...
flight of 4 or 5 hours, 1 liter of water is enough.
Però ci sono delle variazioni in rapporto alla massa corporea dei piloti e alle condizioni climatiche del momento.
Okay, it's very important to consider the mass, the pallet, and the climatic conditions of the flight. Okay. Okay, if you are 90 like me, you have to take 2 liters, no? Okay. 2 liters for me. For you, 1. You 1 liter.
Comunque
1
è
liter.
tutto molto soggettivo.
Okay.
Occorre stare attenti nelle esperienze dei propri voli se non si sta attuando una diuresi forzata, e questo se ne accorgono per...
You must to be careful and pay attention to the forced diuresis, okay? So if you can, if you have if you have a forced diuresis during a flight, you can regulate what is your good apport for the other flight, in the next flight, ok? Io ho detto che a seconda di quanto è la diuresi, se ti capita di avere una diuresi forzata, ti puoi autoregolare.
Sì. L'importante è che se uno beve quando ha sete, normalmente riesce a provvedere alla necessità dell'organismo.
Any other question?
So I've got an additional question. So
Yeah.
then if we need to urinate during the flight, we're drinking too much water, is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. The normal behavior is like that because dehydration is suffering. You are suffering when you are dehydrated. When you are in hypoxia, you feel like an hero. You feel wow, okay? And so you don't consider that it's very dangerous for you because you have not the possibility to think in the right way, okay?
Ok.
Could I make a comment? On the topic of hypoxia, if you have an opportunity... on the topic of hypoxia, if you have an opportunity to do the altitude chamber, I highly recommend that because then you can see your own physiological reaction to the hypoxia. And it tends for most people to be very subtle because it comes on slowly. And being able to do the chamber ride, you can see, oh, I thought I was fine, and then I put the oxygen on, and all of a sudden I could see better, or something like that. And so if you have that opportunity, and opportunities I know are available in the United States for our pilots, do it.
Ok. Ho detto che c'è l'opportunità negli Stati Uniti di portarsi dietro comunque un ossigenatore,
Beh, certo.
eccetera, eccetera.
Questo no, forse non l'abbiamo
Forse non abbiamo detto.
Hai detto
Cosa?
che con l'ossigenatore si sposta più a sinistra la curva.
No, mi sa che l'ho saltata quella roba lì.
Se vuoi glielo vai a leggere, perché è compreso nella lezione. Tira fuori la diapositiva.
Okay. Important to precisate that if you have at a high altitude, it's important to reintegrate oxygen with oxygenation, active oxygenation. Okay. No, l'aveva detto anche lei.
Sì, no, non è che lo fanno negli
Sì, ma
Stati Uniti, lo fanno qui.
no, lo fanno
piloti.
tutti, certo. Ok, any other question?
Yes, I do have a question. I would like to know which can be the consequences
Yeah?
if you go in flight with a cold.
Oh, the
Yes.
consequence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I know that sometimes you have whistles on your ears
Yeah.
that cannot go away anymore. Is
Oh
it
yeah,
right?
yeah, because the problem is not only the medium ear problems, but the inner ear problems. Because when you have barotrauma, a great pressure is in the membrane tympanic is carried on the inner ear because there is a link. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is the external ear, this is the conduct, okay, the external conduct, this is the membrana tympanica, this is the median here, okay, this is the last one of the three bones, little bones, okay, this is the stapes, okay, the stapes, this is a foramen ovale, this is linked to the inner ear, okay, where is the nerves. When you have a great pressure that goes to the membrana tympanica, you have movement of the little bones, and you have a great pressure in the inner ear that goes and damage the nerves. Okay, because in the inner ear there are liquid. Okay, endolympha and perilympha. So if you have the stapes that broke the fenestra, the oval fenestra, okay, the window, okay, you have suddenly a movement of the liquid in the inner air and a damage that can be permanent, okay, hearing loss, and you have vertigo. You can have vertigo during the flight. This is terrible, okay, it's very dangerous.
Can you block it? What if you put something like those earplug?
You don't have to fly if you have a cold. Stop.
Clear solution.
Because if you are not able to have the right pressure in the air, is a problem, okay? Because you can pull, okay, with a knife. No, it's very important. Don't fly if you have a cold.
The vertigo is something that can be permanent also? The damage to the labyrinthum?
Often the hearing loss is permanent. The vertigo, no, because if you lost if you have an hypoacusia, hearing loss, you can recuperate. Okay, if you have a problem to a labyrinth, you have a compensation from the other side. Okay, so the damage is made, but you have a compensation on the other side and in the brain. Okay, we have a lot of patients that have a failure in a labyrinth, but no problem at all.
Excuse me. If you've had problems with your ears in the past, ruptured eardrums, are you more susceptible to?
More acceptable too?
Susceptible.
Are you more likely?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Really. Yes. Yes. It's more dangerous because the mechanism of the compensation is not good. Okay. But I suggest you, if you have a cold and you have to fly, not only for fun, nasal spray and corticosteroid tablet, okay? Don't be afraid about medicine if you have to fly.
Prescription?
You have to take medicine if you have to fly. It's very important.
Nasal spray over there.
Nasal spray.
If you're not a pilot, because if you take these things and then you're a pilot,
You can't nasal spray. The steroid tablets.
Vittorio,
Sì.
digli che un'altra cosa che sconsiglia di volare quando c'è un'influenza o un raffreddore è che la maggior parte dei farmaci che si usano interferiscono negativamente con la guida e con il volo.
Yeah, the majority of medication you have to use during a cold are not good for flying, okay? And so, anti-doping.
Very serious. What is the effect of this medicine on anti-doping?
Oh yeah. All right.
I'm not supposed to take them.
Oh yeah. So sure, corticosteroids. Yeah. So, if you have a passenger, you take corticosteroid by tablet. Okay. So no nasal spray, but you don't have to fly. Okay, because vertigo is terrible. It's terrible. Okay, because when you have problem in the air, you don't have dizziness. Okay, you have object vertigo. So you don't have the possibility to know where you are. Okay, spatial disorientation, totally.
Tranquillizzali dicendo che è più facile avere mal d'orecchio che se no non domani non vola.
Ah no, figurati se non volano lo stesso. Ok. Okay, don't worry about it because vertigo is not so often, it's not so frequent. Okay. 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 Thank you so much.
Ancora una domanda.
I once had this sinus problem, so that the ear was closed. I think after a descent on a overseas flight,
Yeah.
and had a serious problem 4 weeks after,
Okay.
like a sinus infection also.
Yeah.
So it was caused by
Yeah.
the flight.
I think that if you have a problem with your nose, the paranasal nose, it's important to think about surgical treatment, to have a CT scan, okay, ENT specialist visit, and surgical treatment.
What kind of treatment?
Surgery.
Oh, okay. No.
Surgical treatment.
Like an operation.
Yeah, an operation. Yeah, yeah. And open up the nose, the paranasal sinus. Yes.
No, I went to the doctor and she also, because it was a bacterial infection.
Yeah.
And I got
Antibiotics.
antibiotics.
Yeah.
And also that treatment after 2 days
Yeah.
it was gone.
But even if you're good, you're fine, you have to do nasal wash every day because if you have problem with your nose, you have to prevent, okay? And I suggest you a CT scan, to see because if you have a chronic paranasal sinus infection, I think you have to be operated if you want to fly. Yeah. Oh, but it's not so. It's not dangerous.
I only had
No.
one time and during with the soaring I usually don't have any trouble.
Okay.
I think it was at that time I had an infection. So
Okay.
Yeah, exacerbated with chronic.
they once made a scan and then the doctor recommended to have an operation because on one side
The nasal septal deviation.
it's too close.
Yeah, because it's a septal deviation. Probably this is the cause. You have a recurrence of paranasal sinus pathology. Okay.
Start at 0 AGL, start very low.
Oh yeah.
Okay? So I would really like to thank these doctors by giving them our books of pictures. These were done for our 50th birthday, and this is the history of this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Mark. Whenever you want, come and fly with us.
Yeah.
Not when you are cold. No.
Oh yeah.
Te lo sei meritato, bravo.
So we'll see tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. We have class, and then we have lunch, and then we go on a trip.